Shazam! What's up, everybody? This is Sleep Atomic, and this is where I review some newest hits, some old shows, some movies that I liked, so on. And since the Shazam Fury of the Gods dropped, I'm gonna review the first Shazam. I'll go over the storyline a little bit, then the most memorable things that I took away with me, and then just chat from there. We have two things going on with Dr. Sylvana and then Billy Batson. We start way back in a flashback with Dr. Sylvana, and then Billy first when he's looking for his mom. But eventually, both of them at different times go to the Rock of Eternity, and then both of them get superpowers one way or another, and then all meet the wizard Shazam and the seven deadly sins. Dr. Zavana more beneficially interacts with the seven deadly sins, and then Billy does because they don't like Billy. But it's okay because Billy has a recently new foster home with a big group of people that could back him up. There's Freddie, Eugene, Darla, Pedro, and Mary. And also there's the adoptive mom and dad, Rosa and Victor. And eventually they all have to fight off Dr. Savannah and the seven deadly sins. It's super cool because eventually the adopted kids all get the powers shared with them that Billy got from the wizard Shazam. And all they have to do is shout Shazam, and then they can transform into a superpowered adult version of themselves. And they're all powered by the Greek gods, the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus. I think the invincibility of Achilles, and then the speed of Mercury. While Dr. Solvig has all of that similarly and a crazy evil villain eyeball, with the assistance of a now magically sentient set of statues that are very mean looking, with the added bonus of a standoffish family. It's just a dad and a brother, but still. But eventually, the Shazam family defeats Dr. Solvig and the Seven Deadly Sins. It's a very nice superhero story with some school and family stuff sandwiched in there. But the first thing I remember about it and liked about it was Dr. Solvig. He seems like a pretty good villain. He wasn't too over the top, and he can actually come back eventually with Mr. Mine or whatever. And that was kind of cool how slowly you get to see like 3 or 4 times with Mr. Mine in there, like eventually to the Easter egg. First he's like contained, and then like it's like the broken bottle, and then the scene at the end. But Dr. Solvig, he just had my attention, and I don't think it's because the actors, because I don't remember like most people's names. I just remember like who they look, who they were, and what they look like. It kind of seemed like he was like acting out some thing. He must have been some cool dude somewhere while he's like not acting. And also the best dresser in the whole thing. Although the super outfits were pretty good, like he was just like the most like dressed. Everyone else always had like winter coats on or something. Maybe he was like the idea of fashion, and everything else was like just normal t-shirts and stuff. Just to do like a super like out there like analysis about it. There's just the regular coming together, and that's my very exclusive one about fashion or maybe like do it yourself uniqueness. But then there's like the I guess normal stuff and like the super suits in that place looking good as well with just normal t-shirts and nice things like that. But so Dr. Sylvana gets the pretty good treatment story-wise. Anyone can like watch this and just get what's happening instead of just like all these references. While there are references, and just the fact that he like was so obsessed and like somehow found a way back onto the Rock of Eternity was like pretty admirable in itself. And the cool like magic introduction to the DC universe. It's that kind where you just have to like have the knowledge because like all he did was like write on the door with like Sharpie or whatever, and then he got a portal to open to the Rock of Eternity. He just had to like write it 7 times, and he's up there with the obsessed people where he could be enjoying or doing anything else because he's like already like pretty rich. So, and then the whole thing with Billy was pretty good, where he's like looking for his mom and looking for family essentially, but then he finds his mom and it's not what he thinks, and then he goes back to his newest family, and it all eventually working out, and he has to jump all through all these hoops, learn his superpowers. That was a pretty cool part or parts. And he had a school bully and everything to keep things moving along, even though that is not why they exist. I'm glad they didn't put too many funny parts in, but there was the part with Dr. Sylvana and the Shazam Billy, where he's like really far off trying to like villain monologue to him, and there was just like this little thing with the kid like out in the skyscraper next to them while they're like floating in the sky. That was the only like real like, oh, that's supposed to be funny, like, and it was. Everything else was like aesthetic, like up, like in mood up. I want to say ecstatic instead of like just happy, but no one was really like down in the dumps. And it was just the right amount of like, oh, like superpowers and dazzling things happening, like the Billy's lightning and the seven deadly sins, and anything happening on the Rock of Eternity was pretty cool looking. And the characters were all pretty good too. Like they're, it's I always go off of like if that's a person I could like run into in the real world outside of the movie theater, and they all seem like real people, and then I don't have to like fill in like their like origin story or anything just because like I already know of or know someone similar to that, and they're all kind of young anyway too. Like half the cast that's on screen a lot of the time definitely pulled me into the whole story to where like it didn't have me like drifting off in my thoughts like elsewhere at all like during it. That's always like a plus and like high marks in just like storytelling and like movies go. Sometimes somehow like something like snaps you out of like the trance of watching something, and then you just like break it, and then like you never like want to drop back in because it's not like keeping with you, even though it's not even like that bad or anything or undeveloped. It just doesn't like sink you into the story. It seemed like everyone else had a good time too, though, on the movie. And then story wise, I thought it was also kind of funny that Billy was into like older chicks. Like at the gas station, he keeps like trying to like see if like this chick wants to do something or see if she'll like come with them. And also later when he's like doing stuff with his superpowers and like helps the lady and like tackles the guy into the pile of trash, he like has to stop and try to impress her. That would have been a funny thing if they were to go into it. Just because like when he's at school, like he's not even like shown to be like talking to anybody to except his foster family. But it's super like there when you notice it's like he's like kind of switched like moods. Like the adult version of him is like all super happy and ecstatic and happy to be alive and stuff. And like Billy's like kind of like adult, like mediocre, if not sad feeling. But at least does that thing where it looks like a very extreme and single example of like how cool it will be to grow up for young kids and how he's already doing that like kind of like immediately when he's like so tall he's like all right like relationships like ooh like and then later he's like trying to get money or something even though he could probably just zap another ATM. This is my job, I'm an entertainer, like I'll be on TV soon after I'm done like performing on the street. Everyone gets a certain tension with Billy too. It's never that thing where it's like oh nothing, only good things have been happening between us, so there's gotta be something bad lurking somewhere. They definitely get it all out of the way. They got the best at the end, and then the worst, like somewhere in the middle of the whole movie. It wasn't saturated enough for it to be like a just regular G movie for like young people, so it's like closer to the PG-13 area. But it wasn't just all action and like nothing to notice other than like the cool things happening. But at a few moments, it could have gone into a drama or just action movie or just a kids movie. Well, maybe not kids movie, but definitely a teenager movie. It was almost like kind of weird that they had to have. It looks like they had to have Superman at the end. Like it could have been like something else for the whole movie, and then put Superman in. Like they could put a different Easter egg entirely with some other superhero that they wanted to put in that no one has put in, but they had Superman. That was pretty cool for what it was. There would be more background discussions to why his face wasn't shown, but I don't need to talk about that. All in all, though, I liked it. I have it in my library, watch it every now and then again. A part of my digital library that's not related to any streaming service. It's almost like I have these DVDs sitting around in my living room. Well, looks like the music's playing me off, but I hope you liked it as much as I did. This has been Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. I'll see you next time on another review, some other day. And if no one's told you yet, I'll go with you, no matter where you want to go.